This is the two-faced, hypocritical nature of Republicans. They know that the lifeblood of our economy rests on the backs of these exploited individuals. Maybe we're gonna have to rename the channel here. Maybe we're gonna have to rename my little internet show here, something about Republican hypocrisy, because it seems every single day there's at least one video that I do that deals directly with the unbridled, disgusting nature and hypocrisy of the Republican Party. Right now, in America, Republicans are beside themselves with glee over the deportation, the lack of due process, the ruining of lives of human beings all across the country as they're disappeared, as they're kidnapped by federal officials and sent off to gulags outside of the country. They're sent nearly 2,000 miles away from their homes to a prison in Louisiana. Detention camps are being set up. Internment camps are being set up. And Republicans, they can't get enough of it. It's an erotic thing for them to see the destruction of human life. Unless you own a business that employs undocumented migrants, that is fueled by the labor of these human beings, that would not exist without the exploited labor of this class of human being in our society. And who has been more MAGA? Who has been more like dressed like MAGA, behaving like MAGA, taking an assault weapon and blasting at Bud Light because they dared to put a trans person on one of their cans? Kid Rock. Who shows up in his circus outfit in the Oval Office to stand next to Donald Trump? Kid Rock. Who owns a bar in Nashville, Tennessee called Kid Rock's, let me get it here, Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse? You gotta be kidding me. And by the way, it's not Kid Rock's, it's not, the name of the restaurant isn't the Big Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse. The name of the restaurant is Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse. Yeah. And the hypocrisy comes in that this MAGA faithful, whatever his real name is, Kid Rock, this guy that was born into opulence, born into wealth, born into privilege. He wasn't some white trash, poor kid like I was. He was born by a father I think owns a bunch of car dealerships. He was a wealthy kid who just happened his way into, by grit and hard work, into more money. Right. You know, the meritocracy myth that we talk about all the time. Here's the hypocrisy. Is this coward, this cruel MAGA faithful jackass, closed his restaurant over the weekend, among others, in Nashville, Tennessee. Among others, they're closing their restaurants, these conservative-owned businesses, so ICE doesn't come a-calling and kidnap their employees and send them away. Was he tipped off? I don't know. But it certainly seems to not be in line with conservative ideology relative to the mass deportation effort underway. Here's the headline from the Daily Beast. Kid Rock's restaurant closes to avoid Trump's ICE raids. Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse in Tennessee reportedly closed on Saturday to avoid being raided by ICE. Yeah. He's a principled American, a principled MAGA American. Can't you tell? Can't you tell he's guided by his underlying, rock-solid political ideologies and support for mass deportation because it's going to make America great again, right? So if he closes his restaurant to avoid the mass deportation effort, he's closing his restaurant against his belief of making America great again. Or is he trying to protect his business, and that's really what matters? I guess I'll let you decide. Here's the article. A Nashville restaurant owned by MAGA musician Kid Rock reportedly closed over the weekend to avoid the Trump administration's ICE raids. Nashville Scene reported that Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse in Tennessee was shuttered after employees not authorized to work in the United States failed to show up Saturday, and those who did turn up were told that any undocumented workers should leave to avoid being caught by ICE. ICE agents trawled through South Nashville on Saturday evening, stopping drivers with the help of Tennessee Highway Patrol. The agency said Tuesday that it had apprehended 196 people during the operation. So they're warrantless stops. They're detaining Americans who have the presumption of innocence in order to search their cars for undocumented immigrants. Have you heard of the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, Donald Trump, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem? Have you heard of it? The prohibition against unlawful search and seizures? You need probable cause? I don't think they've heard of it. What do you think? Nashville restaurants, The Diner and Honky Tonk Central, which are owned by Stephen Smith, also closed during the raids. He's also a conservative MAGA type, this Stephen Smith. Also closed during the raids, highlighting the important role undocumented workers play in the service industry. Look, this is the point here, is that without this labor force, without this this low-paid, underappreciated segment of our workforce in this economy, restaurants will cave. The economy will cave. It's not just the service industry. Agriculture. That's why Donald Trump is trying to carve out exceptions for certain groups and not others, because the American economy is dependent upon this labor. We will fail without the contributions of immigrant labor. Absolutely. Our culture will be worse for it, not just our economy. An anonymous employee at one of the three establishments told the Nashville Scene that the restaurant was, quote unquote, already understaffed on Saturday, quote unquote, because of the ICE raids. They added that the manager came back and told anyone without legal status to go home around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, despite it being the busiest service of the week following major events in Nashville. And then finally, it was crazy busy, but there was no one in the kitchen to cook food, they said. Do you think? Look, this is the double-sided, two-faced, hypocritical nature of Republicans. They know, business leaders know, business owners, both giant businesses and small businesses know that the lifeblood of our economy heavily rests on the backs of these exploited individuals in our economy. Should they be paid a living wage? Yes. Should they be respected? Yes. Do they pay billions and billions and billions of dollars in taxes, in payroll taxes, that they will never see? Do they pay into the Social Security system a benefit that they will not realize when they retire? Yes. All of those things are true. And all these people know it. And Donald Trump doesn't care because of racism and xenophobia and fear and white supremacy. Anyway, what do you think about this? Do you live in Nashville? What have you heard? You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider supporting independent media. And if I am the channel you choose to support, I would appreciate it very much. For $2 a month, you can click the join button below, become a channel member, or you can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are fantastic ways to help support this work that I believe is important. Follow me on social media. If you're already there, don't sign up to do it. But if you're there, at Dollemore is where you can find me. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.